when Muslim conquered Libya, they conquered Egypt, so they conquered Alexandria. From Alexandria they went to Libya, start for Libya. The city, they start with city, it's called Barqa. I think they called Saramiyaka, I can't remember. But in Arabic it's Barqa. Who conquered Barqa? Amr ibn al-As. Amr ibn al-As is companion of Muhammad. He's the one who conquered Egypt. And he conquered Alexandria, he took it, and he moved to Libya. I start with the east of Libya, Barqa. We go to the book, the name of the book, The Conquer of the Country. The historian is named Baladri, Al-Baladri, and Futuh al-Buldan. Baladri is this famous historian, Muslim, mentioned all this Egypt, Libya, all the Iraq, all the Muslim, this country they conquered. When Umar ibn al-As conquered Alexandria and he marched with his army heading for the west, you mean North Africa of course, until he come to Barqa, this city in Libya, North Libya, close to Egypt. He agreed with the people of Barqa for 13,000 dinar, gold, piece gold, for which they would sell any of their children, whomever they wanted to sell. What does it mean? I'll explain it straight. These people, Amr ibn al-As forced them to pay 13,000 pieces of gold every year. And these people didn't have that much money to pay every year. So he told them, you have to sell your children.
All the women.
They mentioned just children. And I'm going to mention, the women as well, in different historian. So to pay jizya, you have to sell your children. So we have to take jizya from you. Simple as that. And Ibn al-As is companion of Muhammad. He lived with Muhammad. If he doesn't understand Islam, so how can we understand Islam now? And he was at the time of Uthman. That was during the time of Uthman ibn Affan. Uthman ibn Affan, he was one of Muhammad promised him paradise, and he married two of his daughters, and he was Khalifa. If Uthman he doesn't understand Islam, how can we understand Islam now?
Rightly guided.
And he was rightly guarded, yeah?
The full rightly guided.
Rightly guarded, yeah.
Another historian mentioned the same story, and this historian is a famous historian. His name Ibn Abu Al Hakam. He lived in Egypt. His father was a scholar. He followed Imam Malik, and it was the time of the Shafi'i as well. And is very trustworthy historian. Ibn Abu Al Hakam mentioned the same story about the Libyan, and he said he's got some addition. If you go to his book and the conquer of Egypt and North Africa, conquest of Egypt and North Africa, if you go to page 197, Amr ibn al-As wrote to the barbar of Libya. It's not doesn't mean barbar like savage. No. They called them the barbar. The North African. They called them barbar. So Amr ibn al-As wrote to the barbar of Libya in his condition that you must sell your sons and your daughters, like you said, for the tribute you owe, for 13,000 pieces of gold.
Jizya, isn't it?
Jizya. So imagine that. So to sell your children and
not based on the ability to pay them.
no.
Yeah, but the Muslim will say, oh, this is da'if or this is weak. There's no...
They could say whatever they want. This is a historian books. This is how do you know your story. If you deny these books, it's up
But
to
these
you.
are credible books because the Sharia is based on...
Ibn Abd al-Hakam, this guy, in his book Conquest of Egypt and the West, his father was a scholar in Egypt, big scholar in Madhab. And Shafi'i used to visit him. Shafi'i has got his own Madhab. And most of Egypt, they follow Shafi'i. And all his family is scholar. Himself was scholar as well, and a historian. I mean, how can you deny someone like that?
Yeah.
Is a Muslim lying? If he was Christian or wrote this, all right, I understand that you say it for lying.
But the Muslims are writing this down.
That's
point
right.
of the
And he
jizya.
lived in Egypt.
Yeah. And there's no upper limit to the jizya, is there?
No,
It can
there's
be
no.
anything you
There's a
want.
minimum, but there's no up. It's
Yeah.
up to the governor of the land.
And how much do the Muslims pay in zakat?
2%, they say.
It's 2.5% of your.
2.5 for for one section of people and no upper limit for everybody else. I wonder why people converted.
Ibn Abd Al Hakam, we keep saying about, we talk about Egypt for a while now. Ibn Abd Al Hakam in his book said, for the Egyptian was 2 pieces of gold for every man, adult man. That's not including the woman and the very old man. Sheikh al-Thani. Sheikh Thani in Arabic does mean the very old man who's almost dying. He's a few years probably dying. That's in page 92. If you go to page 108, this guy said they were paying jizya and kharaj. We're gonna come to kharaj. What does it mean kharaj? And kharaj according to what the Amir, the governor, see fit. So they're paying jizya and kharaj. We're gonna come to kharaj, very important. If you go to page 111, when Amr ibn I mentioned it, no. This is very important. And if you go to page 111, Amr ibn al-As himself, when he conquered Egypt, he said to the Copt of Egypt, the Christian of Egypt, Copt, we call them Copt, if anyone conceal a treasure from me, I will kill him. And he did kill one of the Copt, hide the treasure from him. That's what the historians say. So
The rightly guided Ummah,
Yeah,
that show you that was just about money. It's not about Islam or spreading Islam
right.
Best people of all time.
or teaching the Quran or history of Muhammad or whatever.
Wow.
There's another hadith. It's a very funny hadith, but I'll mention it. That they found it in Sunan al-Kubra al-Bayhaqi. I said this book you have to study it to be scholar of Islam. If you don't study it, you're not scholar. I don't consider you a scholar. Because he talk about all hadith and sharia. He mentioned like if it's zakat, salat, everything and hadith. On authority of Umar ibn Khattab, he was Khalifa. When he was Khalifa, he said, Umar ibn Khattab himself said that I calculate the jizya of Bahrain, the region Bahrain, while I was standing in the prayer. When Umar ibn Khattab was praying, he was calculating in his head the jizya of Bahrain. He's not talking
to Allah.
He's more interested in.
He's more interested in his
While
money.
he was praying,
It's just a bit funny. I found it funny, but
as he was praying, he was speaking of money.
making
Money.
calculations for money. How much money coming from Bahrain?
Yeah. How much can I get
Bahrain
those
at that
people
time?
for?
I can't know if they were Christian, Arab Christian, and they were they follow
Zoroastrian.
Zoroastrian, religion.
I see.
And these people as well, they pay jizya, by the way.
Wow.
Muhammad took from them jizya during this time. So you can say that people of the book, they Muslim consider these people as well people of the book. They've got the book actually. So they're not Christian, they're not Jews. So Muhammad took from jizya, so Umar ibn Khattab took jizya as well from them. So just more information. Where did that jizya go? Where did jizya go? Wife of Muhammad in Medina. Let's mention the wife of Muhammad. Muhammad, when he died, 9 of his wives, they were still alive during time of Umar ibn Khattab. Umar ibn Khattab was giving every wife 10,000 dirham. Dirham is silver, no gold. And just for more information, 10 dirham silver is 1 dinar gold. That's the value. 10 silver.
So 1,000 golden dinar.
Is 1 dinar.
Okay.
So he was giving him like 1,000 dinar.
Oh, 1,000 dinar.
So he was giving each wife of Muhammad 1,000 dinar. Of course for a year. But for Aisha, he was giving Aisha and Hafsa 2,000 extra. So Aisha was having some extra money. But after Umar ibn Khattab died, Uthman, when he become Khalifa, he took that extra from Aisha. That's why Aisha hated him. That's what the reason Aisha hate Uthman. Just for information.
Really? So it was like a bad business deal. And Aisha was like...
That's why Aisha doesn't like Uthman. That's why they say one of the cause of Uthman, Uthman was killed.
Is because Aisha
involved. Didn't kill him, but it was
she was messing with her money.
mention how much some of the companions of Muhammad, the people, the Muhammad promised them paradise. Uthman ibn Affan, how much he had when he died. This is you found it. You go on your website or the scholar. They're not afraid. They're not ashamed to say it. Uthman ibn Affan, how much he had when he died? He had 30 million dirham silver.
Wow.
He had 500,000 dirham
Gold.
silver. Now another 5,000, and he had 100,000 dinar gold piece, and he had so many houses and camels and. Talha ibn Ubayd, he was one of the company of Muhammad. He was living in Medina as well. When he died, he had 2,200,000 dirham and 200,000 dinar gold. This is the money of Egypt and Iraq. So
Also the money
that's the money where to go
from the jizya money.
from jizya.
How many of these people had jobs?
None of them was working.
But they were rich.
They were rich.
I wonder how
No,
they got there.
one of them Muslims say was working. No, the Muslim they say no, they were doing some business in Medina. I don't know what kind of business.
But did they have
But
jobs?
definitely not
Did they have
having.
jobs.
They're not having Apple.
So who gave these figures to you?
Microsoft or
Where did you get those figures that you just
Muslim
mentioned?
source, and a scholar of Muslim. They mentioned there is some books especially for how much they spend. And a historian like these people. They're not shy of it. They say it's okay. What is the problem?
Yeah, because some people would say, oh, he made that up.
No. If you go and search, I took it from one of the scholar Muslim, one Muslim that did research in Saudi Arabia, and he made this. And it's not just him. There was others as well mentioned the same thing. They made this calculation how much they live when they died. Even one of them is because when they died, they divide their wealth they divide it. So if he's got wives, so how much one of these wives had, and from that they make how much he had totally. So this calculation is easy to make actually.
But my point quickly was that from 610 onwards, none of the Muslims who were following Muhammad had jobs. And they all ended up rich.
Yeah, they were just wars.
It's jizya money, jizya money.
No, one of them they mentioned. No, this guy is his name Abdurrahman ibn Auf. They say he was doing business in Medina. I don't know what kind of business to make him that rich.
It's getting cold now.
Yeah, Abdurrahman he had 3 million dinar gold when he died, and he had so much gold. They say they had to use axes to cut the gold. So much gold he left behind. That's where the money has to go to the.
So what about the
Almost
khiraj?
finished. We're almost finished.
She's helping me out.
All right.
Whoa, look.
There's one thing I mentioned at the beginning, kharaj. The Christian and Jews, they were not paying just jizya. They were paying something else. Jizya is for your head. We explained that. For not killing you. They were paying on your head. They were paying what we called kharaj. What does it mean kharaj?
Kharaj, I think you told me. Go ahead, please.
You can,
Well, what it means is like property tax.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we take, for example, Egypt. They practice agriculture a lot. Egyptian famous before Islam.
Yeah.
So and there were so many shops, and
yeah.
especially in Alexandria.
Uh-huh.
So these people, if these go land for agriculture practice, he must give a percentage of that every year to the Muslim. And Kharaj is almost same like zakat. That's the comparison that you compare now, zakat and Kharaj. So if a Muslim pays zakat, the Christian and the Jew, they pay Kharaj, but Kharaj is higher than zakat. So he must pay even if he doesn't work his land. What does it mean? Kharaj is that land now doesn't belong to the Christian. It belongs to the Muslim now. You understand? It's property of Muslim. Yeah. Even if Muslim doesn't live in Egypt, that land it doesn't belong to you, fucking Muslim. So it's like you paying rent.
Yeah.
So you're working in your own land, but
it's a feudal system. Yeah, feudal system. Yeah.
What I'm not lying. Why I said Ibn Qayyim said, tax on land, kharaj, he said kharaj is tax on land, and jizya is tax on the neck.
On the neck, yeah.
And they are two right on the neck of the infidel and their land for the Muslim. So that land doesn't belong to the Christian now, belongs to the Muslim.
Do you know the rate of the khiraj?
It's very difficult. There's books, and you've got Maliki, Shafi'i, everyone says something. There's no limit to it. There is a limit, 50% is the limit.
Limit is,
You can't go over 50%.
You cannot go over 50%.
No, you can't go. Otherwise, you got.
Yeah. But they want to keep them alive, so they keep getting the money.
That's it.
If you take too much, then they cannot make the money for
That's
you.
exactly. You have to be as well clever. Umar ibn Khattab was clever. Because when Umar ibn Khattab conquered Egypt, Muslims said, we have to divide Egypt. Imagine, they say divide all Egypt between Muslim, because it doesn't belong to Egyptian now. We conquered this land. Umar ibn Khattab said, no, these people must stay in it. We don't take the slaves, we don't take the women, we don't take them. We leave them, work their land, but they pay us the kharaj and they pay a jizya. So they pay, that his land is not his land, it's our land. They pay us rent for it. And his shop where he make things, or he's got provision, it's not his shop, it's our shop, and he pays rent for it.
So I guess the spread of Islam was through humiliation, through jizya, through force of enforcing this kind of laws.
Yeah.
To protect your life, you have to pay jizya. And if you don't, and if you're tired of getting humiliated, either you convert to Islam or you keep getting humiliated. That's Islam. Wow, man,
And,
that's a religion of peace.
And I'm going to mention something very important. If that Christian convert to Islam, like from Egypt, and he goes to Islam, if he convert to Islam, become Muslim, he doesn't pay jizya. But he pays zakat and he pay kharaj. But that land doesn't belong to him anymore now. So that land was taken from him, even if he lived and it's his land before Muslim come. So if he convert to Islam, jizya be taken from him. So that's it, no jizya on him.
No jizya.
But he pays zakat and he pay what?
Khiraj.
He pay khiraj.
Wow.
Imagine.
It's a very peaceful religion, man. Imagine how peaceful this is.
I'm not making these things. You go to the books of Sharia, Ibn Qayyim, Ibn Qudama is called books, very famous books. It's called Mughni, and they say there's a word we say take the money and it's enough. Muslims say that because it's got everything. And Ibn Qudama he was a scholar. He was mujahid. He mujahid with Salah ad-Din Ayyubi. He was in his army. He's from the family of Umar ibn Khattab, so he's got. I mean, it's
very credible.
He's Qurayshi.
Yeah, he's Qurayshi.
He lived in Palestine, by the way, and he made many books. This main one, Mughni. If you go, he mentioned everything about jizya and about kharaj and about all madahib, Maliki, Shafi'i, how much they pay, and it's not cheap. Trust me. And
what I think you should do is talk to some of the Muslims here, because they keep telling us that jizya was very fair tax, only 2%.
I think I
you
finished.
paid less. Yeah, but over here the Muslims will tell us that we were very generous to the Christians and the Jews. We charge them only 2%, and your government here charges you 30-40%, and we used to charge you 2%.
There's so much lies in Muslim nowadays. You don't listen to Muslim nowadays. You have to listen to
you
the
gotta tell this information to some of the Muslims.
No, some Muslim knows, so they don't deny, they accept it. I mean, it's just the ignorant Muslim that don't read, they don't know it. But the Muslim who read on his church, he knows, and he's proud of that.
You're proud of it.
Proud of it.
You're proud of it. All right,
That's the problem.
man.
That's the problem. And
Jizya, we are proud of it.
But
Khiraj,
now-
we are proud of it.
now jizya doesn't exist. Kharaj doesn't exist. We know that. So everything disappears.
One last point. Didn't they used to come and take the oldest child of the Christians and the Jews also to put them in the army forcibly?
The Ottoman did that. Yeah.
The Ottoman did
Time
that.
of
But
Ottoman.
what did they base that
They took
on?
from Europe, European, Armenia, and they took the famous stories.
But this was based on
I don't know. I don't know what's to be honest.
Because you told me earlier that he came and said you have to sell your children to pay the jizya.
Yeah, no, but
so they're taking their children.
No, they're not using him in army. No. They sell them as slaves, of course. Muslims buy them and they sell them to other people, whatever. But they want just the jizya. I forced them to pay 13 in the Libya, in this town in Libya. They forced them to pay 13,000. They couldn't pay it. So they say, all right, you've got children and daughters, sell them and give us the money. So,
but Uncle Sam's right, he's got a point in that it is
part of this whole thing. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Not to be hurt.
That's right. So you give us your children, they could sell them or they could put them, no, they were called Janisars. Janisar mean that you're going to give your life. Jan means life, Nisar means to sacrifice your life. So they were Janisari soldiers who were the personal guard of the Caliph. So he used to get those children to be the Janisars for him. They were expendable.
They can't say no. They have to fight.
Yeah.
They have to
so it's kind of part of a jizya tax when you take your oldest, most strongest child and put it.
And who do those children go to fight in the end? They're very Christian parents. Because the kids were converted to Islam.
They were told to go and attack, this is from the story of
attack the Christians.
Yeah, I think they used them later, not during the time of Umar, Mukhtar, Uthman. No, that didn't happen. That come later after.
Well, anyway, so but it can't
for
evolve.
example, during Salah ad-Din Ayyubi, he did exactly what he did.
But you see, it evolved from taking children, selling them.
Yeah.
It evolved from there. The example was set in the first century. That's what the point is. And then the story of Dracula, in Transylvania. He was taken by the Turks as a child. And he was converted to Islam, but then he rebelled. You know the story of Dracula from Transylvania? He was taken by the Turks, converted to Islam, and he hated them. He came back. Vlad, the Impaler. He hated them, so he used to speak Turkish, and so he wreaked havoc because he hated this. Now, how much hate is that for somebody to go and kill thousands of people? He used to stake them, put them, thousands of them on the stake. That's how much he hated the Muslims for what they did to him when he was a child.
And
they were making them sex slaves too. He had another brother. He was gay, his other brother. Then they took them. One of them, they used to have sex with him, the Muslims.
Famous Muslim would die, children.
And then that one they would call him Muslim. And then the Dracula, the guy, Vlad the Impaler, he took off and he came and fought them. So this is the real story. This is the history of how much hate and how much oppression this religion is, the religion of peace. That's how you get peace.
Keep in mind also that these boys are slaves.
Yeah.
They're actually slaves. They have to fight. And they're not free and they can't marry.
No, of course not. No, but they take them as children
and
brainwash them and then bring them in. But some of them, when they were like 12, 13, like I think Vlad was not that young. He was a little bit older, so he remembered his culture, his parents, and his stuff. So he rebelled against them.
So slave army, in other words.
Yeah, it's like what's his name? The one who conquered Spain. Salah.
No. The other guy.
Saladin.
No, not Salahuddin. The other one. No, not Ayyubi. What was his name? I forget. Tariq bin Ziyad.
Tariq bin Ziyad. He was a slave. He was an Arab.
He was an Arab.
They say he was from North Africa as slave. Was taken very young.
Yeah. So he was the one who conquered Spain.
Yeah. So Tariq bin Ziyad was an Arab. So was probably one of these
people. So that's been the history of them doing this.
So that's how they moved to North Africa and they took some. I mean, if we talk about slavery next, probably.
Yeah, let's talk about next time.
And we see how much slaves they took from especially North
Did
Africa
Muhammad have slaves?
and Spain. Last time we mentioned how many slave women, and he had 20 slave women when he died.
Wow!
But because he had so many wives,
I thought he came to free the slaves. I thought they said he would buy slaves and free them.
He did free some slaves.
No. But where was this?
He had so many, so you couldn't feed them all. So probably.
Wow.
Slavery is I'll give you an example.
But he was a poor, humble man. How can he have 20 slaves?
I'll give you an example in slavery. We talk about next time. In 1877, what's it called? Ismail was the president of Egypt, if we call it president of Egypt. In 1877, Ismail, the governor of Egypt, made the pact with the English in 1877 in Alexandria to stop slavery. The Azhar, the scholar of Azhar, Muslim Azhar, the famous scholar, they criticized him. Why did you do that? They say to him exactly that. They say, as long as Islam, jihad exists, slavery exists. And he told them it's too late, I sign it, and I stopped the slavery. Because Ismail, he was impressed by the French and the European, how their city, visited their city. So he wanted to stop
So
the
he wanted to be a cultured person.
Yeah, he wanted
He didn't want to
Egypt,
be
to make Egypt like the Europe. And they say as long as jihad exists, slavery exists. But he forced them, he threatened them to put them in jail. They say, okay, we accept.
I don't think Islam came to finish Jahiliyyah. Islam came to revive Jahiliyyah. You know what I mean?
No. Sorry, but I think Jahiliyyah, they had more better character than Islam.
Oh man!
Trust me.
Are you sure?
I'm sure of that.
Man.
I'm sure of that. Even they were slaves, but those people, very wise people at that time, probably if they continue like that, all the Arab become turned very good.
In the Jalaliya period, all the women could inherit, all the women could divorce, all the women had free speech.
If the women had no rights, then how did the first employer of Muhammad was a woman?
Who inherited full wealth, not half.
And who was the boss of him?
She inherited
Yeah.
full wealth from her father, even
Father.
though he had two sons.
Right.
She inherited full wealth from her second husband, even though he had two sons.
Right.
And she was one of the richest
women,
richest
Without
people
her,
in
without
Quraysh.
her,
Quraysh.
he wouldn't have survived to be a prophet.
So how does
He
that
never
work?
learned how to do the business.
Yeah.
So when she died, the business failed.
And she had a father, and her father didn't take that money from her.
No.
She had her own.
Yeah.
Have
So
you heard
she had
of-
the father, and she was free to do whatever she wants.
And she had control over men.
Now, there's another hadith, and I don't know if it's daif or not. They'll probably say it's daif, where it says that when Muhammad wanted to marry her, to convince her father, they got her drunk. They got him drunk. Sorry, is that true?
It's not.
I thought he didn't drink. If Muhammad was a drunk,
he refused to. He said, "No, I don't. I'm not marrying you to this man, to the orphan." He called him orphan of Abu Talib, and she had to make him drunk.
And then she did change his clothes to put
changed his
nice clothes on him to say, "Last night, thank you for getting us married."
But yeah, she told her father after getting drunk that he married her to Muhammad.
The last
Before,
night.
He didn't want to. He didn't
No,
want the marriage.
didn't want to marry her.
To a man
Wow.
who's supposed to have the best character.
So Muhammad was a drunkard and a fraud. He got his first woman from fraud.
And lived off her. He lived off her wealth.
Yeah.
That's why it's okay to lie in Islam sometimes.
He's the best of the, creation, man.
He said that if you invent good information to say good things,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
make
yeah.
peace between the people, that's not lying.
Yeah, that's not lies. That's okay. He was just doing it to marry this woman. She needed a husband.
Yeah.
He was doing her a favor.
But have you forgotten something you said last week? The Treaty of Bab. After Egypt invaded Sudan, and he made a treaty.
Oh yeah, that's about slavery. Yeah.
Called the Treaty of Bab, BAQT, where the Sudanese where they couldn't defeat the Christian Sudanese, but they told them that they have to give them 360 high-quality slaves.
High quality slaves. Yeah.
Or the jihad won't end.
That's during the time of Uthman ibn Affan.
Umar. It was Umar.
Umar.
It was Umar's armies.
No,
After they invaded Egypt, because they invaded Egypt in 641, in 642 they invaded Sudan, but they couldn't defeat the Christians, and they made a treaty called the Treaty of Bab, BAQT. And in the Treaty of Bab, they had to give them 360 high-quality slaves. And the Muslims complained about the treaty. They never complained about the state. They complained that they had to stop the jihad, and it lasted hundreds of years.
700 years.
It was acceptable to all of them.
Wow.
It's called the Treaty of Bab.
360 and another 40 for the leader, Muslim
Every
leader.
year, by the way.
Every year.
Or the jihad
right.
will end.
Let's end the video now. Okay, thank you everyone. And Islam, you can see from the history, only spread by peace and love and flowers. There's no force in Islam.
It's all about money. Islam,
Sex and
it's
money
all about
and
money.
power. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless.